Hi, welcome to the 500 subscriber question and answer extravaganza. Cue the music. Okay, we have around 43 questions and I'm going to try to answer them all quickly. Okay, this question is from Frog City. What are those things in front of you you're using to play? I am using the Electron Octatrack Mark II, and I'm using the gray model. And then I'm using the Electron Analog Heat Plus FX. The Octatrack is a sampler. It doesn't make any sound of its own. It plays what you input on it, or you can record using it. The crazy thing about it is while you're playing, you can actually record what you're playing and then play that back instantaneously. The Analog Heat Plus FX, it has an analog distortion circuit that you can run the sound through to process it. And then it has different digital effects that you can use. So yeah, I'm using those two things exclusively this year. I've also used other things like the Nintendo guitar, bass drums, etc. Cosmic Cairns. Do you choreograph your moves at all, or is it entirely free-flowing? I think it's mostly all free-flowing. I might have an idea of like a type of thing that I want to do, but most all of my dance moves are improvised. Something that I would like to do in the future is to put on a piece of music, improvise a dance, then go back and then select different elements that I want to do and then choreograph from an improvised piece. Ilzix, can we maybe drop Apparently I've Been Wrong as an Orange Drink single, mix and master the original, and then have the remix as a side B? That's a great idea, and I will do that one of these days. Side Eye Music. Would love to see a breakdown of the Octatrack project. I'll also do that one of these days. Dijipi, what kind of ride cymbal is that? It is a Sabian SR2 thin 22 inch. And then the hi-hat is also a Sabian SR2 medium 15 inch. The SR2 series, if I understand correctly, they take their like other cymbals, and if any of their cymbals have like cracks or issues, they like resurface them. This is the resurfaced series. So you can get like a fancier cymbal at a lower price because they fixed it. I only use the ride cymbal. I don't have a crash cymbal separately. So Xavier, did Frank check week 11 on the calendar instead of week 10? Yes. Good eye. Horatio Romantic, how many takes did this take? Probably 2. Emily, was Frank picking what to trigger, or did he have a cheat sheet, or were you giving instructions? I was giving instructions, but they were really loose. So I was off camera, I was behind the camera, and then I was yelling, whenever you're ready, press 4. Now slowly fade to B. Things like that. Mission Crossing, what's the rainbow box on the right? That was a speaker. So that's how Frank was listening to himself, and then another output was recording it for the track. Emily, are you enjoying the change in how you are approaching songwriting this year with the weekly Octatrack? I am enjoying it. The Octatrack is really making me think differently. I would say the most natural way for me to write a song is to pick up a guitar. So the Octatrack, I have to think completely differently from that. And I think now that I've stuck with it, we're on week 35 now. I think I'm slowly starting to get the like Octatrack mindset, and that's really exciting where I can, it's kind of like being fluent in a language. I'm not saying that I'm fluent in Octatrack, but I'm starting to think in Octatrack. I'm starting to think, this is how I want this idea to come across. Something that I did this week is I did a tempo shift, and when you're playing drums to a metronome, like that's much more complicated to do. So I don't really think of tempo switches. but now that I've used the Octatrack enough, I can think, oh, this is an available option for me. So that's really exciting. Cosmic Karen says, the Orange Drink Band going to be an ongoing thing or more of a one-off? An ongoing thing. So it's going to be a two-parter. I'm calling it Home Team and Away Team. So the home team is the Orange Drink Trio, and the three of us will play shows, in the Wisconsin, Midwest region. And then the away team is going to be me traveling with just the Octatrack and the Analog Heat solo, and that will be more electronic music. So kind of doing the hybrid of like band locally and then electronic music out of town. ENC, do you play with scenes when making your tracks? Sometimes, not really, not enough. Dijippy, did you just use Ableton clips to loop your vocals? No, I was using a looping pedal. I have an Electro Harmonics looping pedal. I plugged in the microphone to that. I was using my foot to record and loop, and then I played drums. So that was all happening while I was sitting there. But I could have recorded it into the Octatrack, but I wasn't really sure how to do that back then. I know how to do that now. JWH, how was the show? The show was great. There were some technical issues, and then my audio recording wasn't that great, so that's why I haven't uploaded it. But I want to do another show where I have a better audio recording and then upload that thing for everybody. Murder Cat, you're from Wisconsin. Hi. Wisconsin. Cow Tools, is there a live video uploaded of the OD Trio? I think I just answered that question. There's some clips online on Instagram and on here, YouTube, but I'm gonna wait till I get a better audio recording to upload a full show. Emily, when you go like this, do you crash for a day or two? Yes. Not a day or two, but maybe a year at a time. I'm super burnt out and I'm doing way too much. So something that Frank and I and my therapist have talked about is about creating more of a work-life balance and setting boundaries. When I did the Weekly Beats videos in 2022, I had a pretty firm boundary of not working on Saturday and Sunday. But this year with the band, there's just been a lot of other things going on and I haven't been managing my time as well. So yeah, I've been going crazy. This is giving me a little bit of Pinback vibes. Do you ever get into them? Yes, love Pinback and really appreciate that comparison. Cow Tools, I'm curious what kind of camera you use to make these videos. Are you just using your phone? Well, Cow Tools, I don't have a smartphone.
I don't eat animals, never drink a beer. I'm gonna write a song a week for a whole year. I don't have a smartphone and I don't text. My name is Young Grandpa, I don't give a heck.
Couldn't do it there. I'm using a Sony ZV-1 and I'll show you. This is the Sony ZV-1 and I got a microphone and attachment thing. Whew. Okay, I just want everyone to know on the song Diagonal Stripe, I made that thing that explains the rhythm, and then there's an error and it's super embarrassing. So here's the error. Anyway, how much time? Oh jeez. Alright, Level Capybara, hi! What are your favorite Orange Drink tracks you've written for Weekly Beats? Pretty much all of them, and pretty much the most recent one is the most favorite. But I actually just scrolled through my Weekly Beats years of 2016, 2018, 2020, 2022, and this year, and I just quickly jotted down a list. Here they are, in no particular order. Meaningless Crown, I Stopped Caring Years Ago, All These Things in Time, We Fell in Love at the Western Skyline, I Know, George, Love You Bye, Nihon Ryori, Wrong Number, Portraits, Landscapes, We Can Die If We Want To, Japanese Maple, Postcard, Your Noise, Nobody Cares at All, Auditory Hallucinations, Desecrate, Apparently I've Been Wrong, Immolate, Sleepworking, to name a few. And this one, and last week, Spectral Ocean, and this one. JWH, aka Josh. Which orange drink scheme that involved Frank got the most pushback from him? He seems like such a good sport, but I can imagine a late night, hey Frank, can you come down to the basement and do this? Could eventually push his buttons. I asked him and he said his least favorite video was out of my mind because we did that in the snow and it was excruciatingly cold. Also, the batteries died because of the cold. It was below freezing. And then I had to run back to the house and get batteries while he had to sit and wait. It was crazy. Tone Matrix. Hi, Tone Matrix. What's your favorite thing about Ableton? Just switching between the arrangement view and the scene view is so awesome. I think like even the user interface, the way it looks, it just looks cooler than Pro Tools in terms of the fonts and colors and like the way things are laid out. I think that is actually my favorite thing about it. Do you have a particular audio effect that you always reach for? I always use like the Cathedral reverb, and then I always use Glue compressor. Do you mainly use it for final recording? But does it ever first... Okay, so this year, the output from the devices goes into Ableton and it's just final recording. But for a lot of the stuff I did for the Double Fine Psychodicy documentary, a lot of that started in Ableton. Is that a Mac Mini? Yes, it's a 2012 Mac Mini running Ableton 10. I also like Ableton because I feel like it was made for electronic music in mind, almost. That Ranjit! How are you controlling the NES? There is MIDI out from the Octatrack, and that's going into a MIDI NES cartridge that's then put into a Nintendo Entertainment System. The MIDI NES cartridge allows me to utilize the sound chip on the Nintendo. Siri Cressy says, ooh, bright swishes on deep darks with thumpadas and squiggle noises. Happy! That is the best description of Spectral Ocean. Thank you. Birdie Loom. Hi. Cool chordal sound, assuming you stacked some pitched oscillators to form chords. No, I did not stack oscillators. That's a sample of one chord, and then that got pitched up and down. Level Capybara asks, the bass in this track feels so strong and gritty, but it feels so clear and distinct in the mix at the same time. Thank you. Any tips on how to achieve that? Well, one of the reasons is because it's a live performed bass, and then I use a microphone to record an amplifier. So that, I think, makes it really sound present. But in terms of mixing, I think the clearness and the distinctness actually comes from the playing of the bass. I use a pretty heavy guitar pick, and the way I play kind of more punchy in the like post-rock bass style. And then I have to credit the compressor on the Analog Heat Plus Effects. It just does some kind of magic where different things get compressed differently. Donut Shoes, where do you draw most of your inspiration from? Probably my biggest inspiration is what do I want to hear that I haven't heard? And then another inspiration is what have I never done before? Another inspiration is what am I most unlikely to do? And then another inspiration is to take things that I like from pieces of art and try to incorporate those ideas into unrelated arenas of art. So I really enjoy a lot of smooth jazz and easy listening, and then how can I incorporate those ideas in like a screamo hardcore context?
How can I lie about lying again? How can I lie about lying again? How can I lie about lying again? How can I lie about lying?
Horatio Romantic, how good is it so far to use the Octatrack live? It's amazing. I think it's the best electronic live device ever in terms of like playing electronic music like an instrument. Probably second to the Ableton Push I just love the crossfader is amazing. And then I love the build quality because, as you know, I jump up and down, and I just feel like I'm not going to break it while I'm jumping up and down and like sweating and smashing it and stuff. Do you have to do a lot of preparation beforehand? How do you work with the samples? Is it a lot of hassle and technical setup, or is it fairly performative and fun? It's performative and fun. The setup is, basically I got a big bank of samples and loaded them up. And then something that I've done through the weeks is that I've taken Orange Drink songs and cut out different elements from the session file and then put the bass guitar or vocal lines into the Octatrack. So then when I sit down, I have this whole library of stuff all kind of ready to go. And then recording, it took me a while to figure out recording, but now that I know the workflow, I can connect the OP1 into the Octatrack and play a melody line. I can put a microphone in and record my voice. And then I've also figured out how to get the Nintendo set up. So once you figure out how to get everything in and set up the way you want to, it's like a total breeze. And then you get into like the flow state where you're like just kind of using your hands to move the sounds around. And I really enjoy dancing and playing the Octatrack at the same time. It feels a lot like jumping up and down and strumming a guitar, where like the intensity of your strum changes the volume of the guitar. I think like, whipping the knob or crossfader of the Octatrack, it really feels good. Cosmic Cairns, how do you go about planning a track like this? I don't really. Are you pre-recording the guitar parts and mixing them live? Yes. For a bunch of those tracks, I did pre-record guitar parts, and I may have like cut them to a certain BPM in Ableton and then imported them onto the Octatrack. There's a way you can do that on the Octatrack, but I don't know how to do that yet. Do you do run-throughs to have a good feel of what the final track will be, or is it mostly in the moment flow or a combination of both? Some tracks are totally improvised this year, and then other tracks are more like I want this to happen and this to happen. So I guess I'm not answering your question. Or maybe I am. It's a combination of both. Oldsmobile Thompson, did you ever answer my question? The answer to that question is no, but I will. Monstro Sus 13, as far as you know, has anyone else ever danced in a video to their weekly beat track? As far as I know, I am the first person to ever dance to my own weekly beat track. Lakes, how many songs will you get to play at All Messed Up? We played 5 songs? How many songs did you write? So we wrote 4 and then we did a cover song. Destiny's Child, Say My Name. What instruments does everybody play? I played drums, guitar, trumpet, and I sang. Brittany played drums and guitar and sang. Josh played bass and Charlie played keyboards. At Crash, do you mostly compose in the Octatrack, or do you compose and record your music elsewhere and play the stems back in the Octatrack? Combination of both. If I compose in the Octatrack, I open it up, go through some samples, come up with an idea, do that. Some of the songs that have had guitar, I've written out the loops, set them all up, put them in the Octatrack, and then performed it. In your newsletter, wow, someone read the newsletter! If you want to sign up for the Orange Drink newsletter, go to orangedrinkmusic.com and scroll down to the bottom and join the mailing list. In your newsletter, you explained why you want to use the Octatrack but not the Analog Heat Plus FX. How did you decide you wanted to include the latter in every beat? I had been thinking about getting the Analog Heat for a long time. One of my good friends from Weekly Beats, Wangus, used the Analog Heat, and they were doing some really fascinating stuff with it, and it just kind of got me excited about the idea. It's a lot of money, and there's a lot of people online that said like, oh, you can just do this a lot cheaper using a computer. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. I came to a conclusion that I don't want to use a laptop anymore in Orange Drink live performances. So once I kind of got set on the Octatrack, there have been times that I've been to hardware-only electronic music shows, and I've always felt like there's a little bit something missing in terms of the end result of the sound, a way to glue all of the different devices at the end. So I just thought like it would be awesome to have the Octatrack and the Analog Heat and kind of use them together as my electronic music sound. But the Analog Heat, not only is it a great end of signal chain device, but you can play it like an instrument because it's got all these effects and it's really fun to play. It's really fun to like physically play. So did I answer that question? Maybe I didn't. Gene from Craft and Chat. Hi! How many instruments do you play? Drums, bass, guitar, piano, trumpet. Demonic Sweaters. Hi! Demonic Sweaters is awesome. 1. And then Demonic Sweaters gave me some drum lessons that were super helpful because I was holding my drumsticks like this and now I hold it like this and I don't get wrist pain. Thank you. Demonic Sweaters asks, what instrument am I playing in the All Messed Up band? I just answered that question. Lowbrow Art Fan. Will the event be recorded and posted? Yes. Look up All Messed Up MKE on YouTube. Devious wants a shout out. Hi Devious. Devious, I gave you a shout out on another video. So go and find that one. Devious, when do we collaborate? Hopefully before the end of the year. I have a list of people from Weekly Beats that I am overdue on collaborations with, and you're on that list. Drum Bender, how are you feeling about your process and constraints so far? I feel really good about them. I regret the decision about making videos because it's taking so much time and editing is a nightmare. I'm having a lot of fun. I don't know if I'll do weekly videos ever again, but I said that last time. Steve Jenkins, hi Steve. Steve is my buddy, and Steve and I worked together on the Double Fine Psychodacy documentary. Shout out to Steve. When are you going to drop a Weekly Beats grindcore track? One of these days. I can't play drums that fast, but there's some really amazing things with kind of virtual drums, and I think that would be the way to go for grindcore. Oldsmobile Thompson, I'm going to answer your question. Do you plan on making more vaporwave-like Japanese cuisine, and where do you go to find samples for vaporwave? The answer is yes, I plan on making more vaporwave. I feel like the Infernal Interloper song had some vaporwave elements at the second half. Where do you go to find samples? So I don't really want to use samples of like old music just because I'm paranoid about copyright strikes, and I don't know, I think it would be a cool challenge if I sampled my own work and then vaporwave my own work, which is really hard to do because I feel like vaporwave is finding a forgotten item and recontextualizing it. So the challenge is to compose something and then forget it and then find it and then repurpose it. So it's kind of like surprising yourself, which is hard to do. So, but okay, that's it. Thanks everyone for asking questions. Like and subscribe. Follow on Instagram, and please consider buying the zine. I'm gonna set a goal of selling 200 zines. So let's try to meet that goal of selling 200 zines. Bye. This couch is dusty.
Thank you.